Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, May 28th. It is our monthly Boston Parks and Recreation Commission public hearing. Today, we have one item on the agenda in the terms of acquisitions. My name is Ryan Woods. I have the pleasure of serving as the Parks Commissioner for the City of Boston. I am joined by our fellow Associate Commissioners, Elisa Birdseye, Jean Bollinger, William Epperson. Also, our Executive Secretary, who oversees the Park Commission, Carrie Marsh Dixon, and our Chief Landscape Architect, Liza Meyer. We are in a regular Zoom meeting format instead of our regular webinar, so I think everyone's in one waiting room. So just for clarification, we go through the acquisitions, and then we will open it up if anyone has questions for public comment on the acquisition item on the agenda. With that being said, Madam Secretary, I pass it to you for the first item on the agenda, please.
This is a vote to purchase for park and community preservation purposes a parcel at 3131 Washington Street in Roxbury known as Eggleston Square Peace Garden.
And Carrie presenting on that is Kathy.
Hi, my name is Kathy Baker-Eclipse. I'm the Director of the Capital Plan for Boston Parks. I'm here to present some information on the Eggleston Square Peace Garden that we have been working on for several about a year and a half now. So I'm going to give you a short presentation, and then I'm going to answer any questions that you have after that. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So the Eggleston Square Peace Garden is at the corner of Washington Street and School Street. The site is currently owned by Clear Channel Outdoors. It's rolled over into several names, but currently is owned by Clear Channel Outdoors. It does contain billboard advertising currently, and that is something that will be addressed shortly after the purchase is complete. The community adopted this as a garden space about 20 years ago and has really taken care of it since then. Maintained it for several years after the initial build that was really a community-led and community-initiated
Yes,
build.
Mommy. Nope, I know.
Ali, I think you're
Mommy.
not on mute, if you don't
Excuse
mind.
me.
Oh.
Hi, this is the stenographer taking the meeting minutes, first of all. Yes, I want to be sure everyone talks one at a time, and I don't mean to interrupt. It's just I was on here from 9:30, and if I got in a bit late, it's because I was told that I would be invited in or let in. So I apologize if nobody knew I was here. But anyway, and also because we are on Zoom, and I would say Ms. Eclipse, if you could just speak more succinctly, because it is not the greatest platform. So, okay, but continue.
I will do my best.
Thank you.
I'll do my best. Thank you. So several years ago, the neighborhood group applied for a community preservation grant and was denied a grant, our beautification grant from the Community Preservation Act, and that was denied because they did not have site control at the time. Subsequent to that, Clear Channel listed the property for sale, and Parks began to investigate how we could acquire the property because of the strong community interest in preserving the site as a garden. So the site contains several mature trees, which provide welcome shade in this high heat area. Currently, the site is restricted by a 6-foot high chain link fence, and it blocks off the site furnishings and raised planters that the community has used and taken care of. So Parks began negotiations with Clear Channel and have negotiated a price of $300,000 for the acquisition of this property for open space purposes. The listing price was $1.1 million. The funding will be through the Open Space Acquisition Fund that is funded from the Community Preservation Act. The billboard will be removed by Clear Channel shortly after the purchase is complete. And the fence removal will be coordinated with the community so that they can prepare the community and prepare to come in there. And we welcome the re-beautification of that with community partners after that the fence comes down. The site will be incorporated into the Boston Parks and Recreation maintenance plan. So we will remove trash, remove leaf seasonally, remove snow when that's appropriate. And we will be considering a CPA grant for a beautification for a capital investment in future Community Preservation Act funding rounds. This image, you can see that the small star shows where the site lays in relation to some high heat areas within the city. So it is in a higher heat area, and the site does feel very hot along the commercial strip. So that's really the bulk of the presentation that I have. So I can answer any questions that you might have.
Thanks. Kathy, so I'll start some questions off before my associate commissioners. If you can just talk what this actually means by acquiring the property article, any protections that it will have from future development, et cetera.
Sure. So the site will be acquired by the Parks Commission on behalf of the Parks Department and will be incorporated into its inventory, and that land will then become Article 97 protected, which means that it is protected in perpetuity from disposal, from conversion into another use. So it will remain open space in perpetuity through its protection and ownership by the Parks Department.
And then another question, Kathy, is if you could talk a little bit how we prioritize acquisitions and parcel priority plan, et cetera, and other ways that we form a list. And
Yeah,
Robert, I think you're off mute, just Robert Polster, if you just want to mute yourself. Thank you.
So the Parks Department has done a parcel priority plan under Liza's leadership and identified several key areas throughout the city, several key parcels that are at risk for development, or would help provide more open space recreational opportunities, whether it's shade or whether it's active recreation. So trying to look for where there are gaps in our current system and where parcels that currently exist in the city could help close that gap. This site was one that was vulnerable, but is extremely important to the Eggleston Square community, and that's why the Parks Department pursued it, because of its strong connection to the community and real sense of pride and ownership that this space has in the Eggleston Square neighborhood.
Thank you. Any questions for my associate commissioners, Lisa, Jean, or William?
Yes, I have a question. So it seems like there's a modest number of amenities that are on the property currently, and their condition not clearly understood by me. Have these amenities been inventoried, and are their conditions understood? And is there anything that has to happen before this open space asset is sort of ready for prime time as a public park and open space asset?
That's a great question. We have a physical survey of the site, which it's not a topographic survey, but it is the physical features are described, and we have performed environmental assessment of the initial environmental assessment of the site. So we understand the site history and we understand some of the site constraints that are there. The site has been surrounded and really blocked off for several years by that 6-foot fence. So there's quite a bit of growth that needs to be dealt with. There's quite a few, it's getting a little overgrown. So there's some weeding that needs to happen and some remediation work in the plantings to bring it back to a usable condition. And that's something that we would coordinate with the Friends of Eggleston Square to make sure that we're ready to kind of make a full assault on that property when that fence comes down. The billboard does need to come down, so we'll need to grant a construction access license to Clear Channel for them to take that down. That will be done at their expense. And that, so I don't know all the equipment that they're going to need to do that, but they will need access to do that. So that's something that will be coordinated shortly after we acquire the property.
We are very excited about the removal of the outdoor advertising. I know that. Elisa, do you have any questions?
To sort of piggyback on the previous question, what uses are intended for the space after the billboard is removed and the, whatever weeding and tidying is taken and done? What sort of plans are there for the space?
So the immediate plans, I'd say in the next couple of years, it will take us a couple of years before we can really implement a capital plan. We'll be restoring it to its previous, there's some benches, there's some tables, and some raised planting beds. So I think that activity will resume while we think about what the long-term future of that site is. It will remain passive open space. It's not large enough to accommodate any active recreation uses. And the community really had a vision for this a couple of years ago when they applied for a CPA grant for beautification. And I think we will resume those conversations with the community to see what the vision is and also how it complements other open space in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
William, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Ryan. No specific questions. I'm quite familiar with this site, but I do think several commendations are in order. In general, I want to recognize everybody in the community who made this happen. It's quite the feat. I remember when that fence went up, and success stories like this are quite rare. So kudos to everybody in the community who organized and made this possible. I also want to commend the department staff who really took action and made this happen so that the city of Boston could acquire and permanently preserve this site. So just a thank you to everybody involved.
Thank you. With that, I go to our Chief Landscape Architect, Liza Meyer. Liza, is there anything to add that we left out?
No, everything's been covered. Thank you.
Great. With that, I will open it to public comment. If you want to raise your virtual hand, Tammy will do that. This is your ability to testify on the acquisition here. Again, this is the vote to purchase for park and community preservation purposes, a parcel at 3131 Washington Street in Roxbury, known as the Eggleston Square Peace Garden. So with that. Great. Tammy, are they able, Denise is first. Are you okay? Okay, good. Denise is there. Great.
Hi, my name is Denise Delgado. I'm director of Eggleston Square Main Street, and we are also part of the Friends of the Eggleston Square Peace Garden. I'm so happy that I never really thought this day was gonna come, so I'm thrilled that this is happening. I just want to say that yeah, there's been efforts to move this forward for many, many years, and this is a space that until the fence went up was really beloved by important to the community as a public space for people, for programming, for people to get people together who normally didn't necessarily interact, for arts and culture. So I want to say that over the last 2 years, we've worked with a private donor to establish an Eggleston Square Peace Garden Fund at the Boston Foundation that's specifically designated for arts and cultural programming. So once the park is, in condition to be activated again, there is funding there to do programming, live music, film screenings, all the things that the community really treasured, before. I do want to offer, just based on our experience as a community, that after my own experience and talking to others in the community, we feel really strongly that the fence should remain in place until because the space has deteriorated so much. It's vulnerable to, negative use and to further deterioration until there's like a CPA renovation of the space. So I just wanted to say that. The tables and chairs and things we received a grant in 2020 to do some space activation in that space, some temporary placemaking. So that's part of that, and I'm happy to kind of work with whoever. We've come up with some ideas for where those tables and park benches and stuff, where it can go or what we can do with it in the meantime. But I just wanted to mention that. And then finally, there's a preschool that's right behind the park. And then there's that's in renovation, or it was recently acquired to be used as a preschool. And then across the street is Greater Eggleston High School. So there's quite a number of schools and youth serving organizations in the area. And we really look forward to eventually seeing, those being partnerships with the park again. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone in parks and Chief Mariama, who really helped to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. Is there anyone else that would like to testify on the acquisition?
Commissioner,
Yes.
hi, this is Bob Polster.
Okay, are you here to testify on the acquisition?
Yes, please.
Oh, great.
I've served as a convener for the Friends of the Eggleston Square Peace Garden for the last several years. I was also the executive director at ESAC in early 2000s when the deal was reached with Clear Channel to release that space for $1 a year, and it gave the community some level of control over how it was used as a gathering place, a place to memorialize youth lost to violence. So I have a long history with the Peace Garden. I'm really thrilled and excited. This is a momentous day in the history of the Peace Garden that we're working with the city for this acquisition. And I do want to thank Mayor Wu and the commissioners and all the community groups that have been part of the Friends over the years to keep this park a local gem. I agree with Denise that it's going to take a little bit of time to move to the next level once the acquisition is completed, but the community stands ready and the Friends stand ready to partner with the city and to be helpful in maintaining and preserving the space over time. So thank you again. This is, as I said, it's a momentous day for folks who treasure that space in Eggleston Square. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert. Maria?
Hi, good morning. Thank you for inviting the public to comment on this. And I also want to start by really appreciating the people, the leaders in our community and in the city who have, just pushed this project forward against tremendous odds. And I wanted to come and show my support as a resident of the neighborhood. I've lived in the area for probably almost 25 years, and I've been a homeowner for the last 19 years in the area. And I remember a lot of uses of the Peace Garden that has really meant a lot to my family. And so my daughter recently, she has a new baby. And so I'm really looking forward to a future where, her new generation will get to enjoy some of the same opportunities she's had back when she was in like K1 at the Hernandez, like 4 years old. They had a program similar to there being a preschool right near the location now at the Y. There was a program where the Y had they had an arrangement and stewardship over the raised beds, and they were able to educate the children about plants and nature, and that was a really good opportunity in kind of a safe, contained space that was right next to there. And as well, we've really benefited from a lot of the cultural programming, the stage that was built, and the performances that have been held that again bring together different folks in a neighborhood that it's a little area, a corner where it doesn't have as much access to some of the open space that other parts of Jamaica Plain do. So I think it's going to be really meaningful. And, there's folks in the longtime residents in the neighborhood that look forward to continuing to volunteer, with the Peace Garden and the Friends of the Peace Garden, and steward it into the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Carolyn, Royce?
Oh, hi. Thank you also for letting the public into this hearing. This is like such an amazing day. I'm just speaking on behalf of Eggleston Square Neighborhood Association. It means so much to have park ownership of this land, especially the last few years when any agreements with Clear Channel fell apart. There was no path forward for renovation, for use, for planning. We had options for funding that we couldn't take advantage of. So the park ownership really gives stability to the land. And I just want to add that our green spaces in Eggleston Square are small, but they are so meaningful to us because they give us green space in the middle of a really, really busy intersection. And also, these are our places where we gather, like Denise pointed out. These are places where people can come together, and we don't have a lot of those right immediately in the square. So I just thank everybody who worked on this, and thank you so much to the Parks Commission and the Parks Department. So we're really happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. Is there any other public comment on this product acquisition? I'm seeing no other hands raised, but I do want to just point out in the comments, Ann Hernandez just said, "This is amazing. Thank you for making it happen. Eggleston Square is where I lived when I moved from the Dominican Republic over 30 years ago. I'm looking forward to that gem being shared again with the public." Oh, Carolyn Lewinberg.
All right, thank you so much. A couple of people mentioned the different schools on School Street. We got almost four schools on School Street. And that corner is also a bus stop. So I think it's also worth mentioning that a lot of school children will be able to benefit from this space, from the renovations, and being able to wait for the bus under the shade of a tree and in a beautiful spot with, birds and insects and stuff. And, across the street from Greater Eggleston High, they've done a bunch of different site amenities. They have like an incredible sort of makerspace set up with lots of different tools and laser cutters. I'm actually working with them right now on sculptural seating for a park 2 blocks away. It would have been in the Peace Garden if it were open. But I look forward to collaborating with them in the future on, beautiful sort of site amenities, and also involving Hernandez youth. My child is a student at the Hernandez, which is 2 blocks away, and will be next to a preschool. So it will be treasured by so many children. And we're all just so thrilled that this is moving forward. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Carolyn. Nice to see you again. Kevin Brill.
Hi there. Kevin Brill, I'm the current head of school at Greater Eggleston. Just to say, to echo off Carolyn there, we're really excited, not only for the opportunity moving forward, but the sort of perpetuity of the establishing of the park really honors the history of the school and the founding of the school. There are commemorative bricks in the path in the park there that have names of people lost to gun violence historically, and that's intrinsically linked with the founding of the school and the path it took with originally designing the park. So we thank you and look forward to what lies ahead and remain committed to being part of that.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm not seeing any other hands. Is there any other public comment on this acquisition for the record? I'm seeing none. Any other questions for our associate commissioners that they have that were not answered? Okay. For the associate commissioners, once we do make a motion, I do have some legal language that is pretty long to read. So I think I'm happy to read that after a motion's in place. Do I have a motion?
I'd make a motion to acquire the park.
Thank you. Commissioner Birdseye makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
William Everson seconds. And again, just to bear with me for the language. The Parks and Recreation Commission, on behalf of the City of Boston, for the community preservation purpose of providing a park, hereby authorizes the purchase in accordance with Chapter 185 of the Acts of 1875 using Community Preservation Fund monies appropriated to the Open Space Acquisition Fund of the Parks and Recreation Department by votes of the City Council on March 31st, 2021, April 12th, 2022, April 12th, 2023, and May 1st, 2024, of the fee simple interest inclusive of trees and structures standing upon and affixed thereto in accordance with the purchase and sale agreement with the grantor of a parcel of land at 3131 Washington Street in the Roxbury neighborhood, aka Eggleston Square Peace Garden, consisting of 5,497 square feet of open land identified in the records of the assessing department as parcel 1101-328-000 and bounded and described according to a plan of survey titled Plan of Land 3131 Washington Street, Boston, Massachusetts, prepared for the City of Boston Parks and Recreation Department and made by Feldman Geospatial, Boston headquarters, 152 Hamden Street, Boston, Mass. 02119. Joseph R. Zambuto, PLA, date of certification, May 26, 2023, and to be recorded at the Suffolk County Registry of Deeds upon the conveyance of the deed, and to have the Commissioner of the Parks and Recreation Department enter into all contracts, agreements, or documents and execute any and all instruments as may be necessary to effect said purchase. Breather. All in favor, say aye.
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 The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. There are no other items on our agenda for this month. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending our May hearing of the Parks Commission. We look forward to seeing you next month.
Bye-bye.
Take care.